Charlie looked at Kazuki Yamamoto with interest at this time. In fact, he himself didn't know much about the Sanda fight circle. If it weren't for Aoshui to participate in this competition, he would not pay attention to the people in this circle at all. Because in his opinion, even if the Sanda fight is practiced to the extreme, it is nothing more than a foreigner in traditional martial arts. Everyone knows that only practicing muscles and bones and fighting skills are the most basic external disciples. Those who are good at using qi, are good at using internal energy, and use internal energy to drive the whole body are the real internal disciples. However, there are countless people practicing martial arts all over the world. Even a 3-year-old kid who is learning Taekwondo is a martial artist. But among so many people, there are really hard-working people. Yamamoto Kazuki is a master at a foreigner at first glance. Even though he is about the same age as his old man, his physical fitness is very strong, and his musculoskeletal and overall body explosive power are far above ordinary people. But in front of the real master of the inner family, Yamamoto Kazuki was almost vulnerable. The key reason why such foreign masters can win medals in international competitions is that domestic masters simply disdain to participate in such competitions. If you compare this kind of competition to a talent show like A Good Voice, then the inner master is the world's top superpowered singer, just like the late tenor Pavarotti. At the height of Pavarotti, let alone let him participate in the competition with A Good Voice, let him be a mentor with A Good Voice, it would insult his identity and status in the music industry. It's a pity that many foreign masters don't understand this truth. They think that apart from participating in the competition, they are all top players from all over the world, but they don't know. The real masters disdain to participate in this kind of pediatric competition. So let alone a top master like Charlie. Because of this, master like Yamamoto Kazuki in front of him looked like an ant in Charlie's eyes. Charlie looked at him and asked with a smile, "This gentleman, why do you think so confidently that Nanako is the champion?" Yamamoto Kazuki said with a full face, "I have been in the Sanda fighting world for many years, and my experience in Sanda fighting far exceeds ordinary people. From my professional point of view, Nanako is a super genius who has been rare in decades. If I have taught her, she will win the championship." Charlie smiled and said, "Mr. Yamamoto is a bit too confident. Why do you think you have a better experience of Sancho fighting than ordinary people? And why do you feel that you have a little bit of ability to teach you everything? Can you create a world champion? If you have all the experience and skills, you can only be regarded as second-rate and third-rate on the way of martial arts, then how can Nanako learn from you? How can she win the world championship?" Yamamoto Kazuki sternly said, "Boy, I know you have a bit of strength, but you are too defiant to speak like this." Charlie smiled and said, "Is it arrogance? I believe you will know it shortly." After he finished speaking, he looked at Nanako, who was surprised, and said with a smile, "Miss Nanako, your roots and meridians are indeed very good. From the perspective of our traditional martial arts, your Ren and Du veins have been opened. Nearly half of the time, if the two channels of Ren and Du are fully opened, then you have the opportunity to become a disciple of the inner family." "Ren Du veins?" Nanako asked in surprise. "Is this the Ren Du veins mentioned in martial arts novels? In addition, what is the inner disciple?" Charlie said solemnly, "The martial arts novels are also based on traditional martial arts, just like the 2 lines of Ren Du mentioned in it. This concept was not proposed by the author of martial arts novels, but was an old traditional medicine practitioner thousands of years ago. The ancestor proposed it. As for the inner disciple you asked, let me tell you this, you practice the way you are now, even if you practice for another 40 to 50 years, when you are as old as this Uncle Yamamoto, you still haven't really entered into martial arts. Only by opening up the 2 channels of Ren and Du, and assisting them with the teaching of internal strength techniques by masters of the internal family, can you become a disciple of the internal family." Nanako asked again, "Then, is the inner disciple very strong?" Yamamoto Kazuki sneered, "Nanako, don't listen to this kid talking about it. The so-called internal family and external family is just a method of deceiving people in ancient martial arts. Do you remember that I have shown you some of them who are called 2 high-handed old ladies? Nanako, I remember. Yamamoto Kazuki sneered and said, "Some old ladies wore a white Tai Chi suit and could hit more than a dozen strong men with a single wave. What's even more outrageous was that they lined up a dozen or 2 dozen people in a row. An old lady slapped a hand in front of her, and she could knock the entire row of dozens of people down to the ground. It seemed so mysterious, but it was just a scene arranged by the extras." Charlie smiled slightly. It is undeniable that there are indeed many people who bluff and deceive under the banner of the inner disciples, but this is just the personal behavior of some liars. You can't deny the existence of this thing just because someone relies on this deception. By the way, some time ago I met a few guys in Orus Hill who are known as Japanese karate masters. They are the bodyguards of big men. They brag about themselves as if their world is invincible. But in the end, these people were all caught by my friends. Fed to the dog. Is it because these people are weak, I will deny your karate? Yamamoto Kazuki was speechless for a while. He didn't know whether the story Charlie told was true.